superstar. He is an absolute superstar, Tom Mitchell. Cripps at the back. Cripps is too good. Neil, yes! Oh, how good was that?
New jeans, new boots, new hat. You're feeling yourself today.
Howdy, brother.
All the way from Texas, the Big Texan.
The Big Tex, man.
What does a day off look like for the Big Texan?
Man, it depends on the day. A few things. I'm trying to buy a house at the moment, so I'm kind of doing a bit of process of that. A few meetings and stuff like that with agents and a few different kind of little things I'm trying to get started, on the side. But and then a bit of recovery. Yeah. So a bit of ice bath, sauna, that kind of stuff that you usually do.
Where are you looking to buy it? Because will you end up in USA or Australia when it's all said and done? When footy's done, where will you be?
I have no idea. I'd love to be between the two. I think doing a little bit of time in America, I would love to kind of be doing a bit of American sport over there. I'm doing a podcast with ESPN at the moment, so hopefully that kind of eventuates into something bigger maybe. But I'd love to do kind of the Super Bowl over there, kind of do NBA finals and kind of do these kind of bigger things that people in Australia are interested in and, sporting people in Australia are interested in, and then also be able to do stuff with AFL back here at the same time and try to juggle those and kind of just move between the two countries.
You could almost be the perfect connect for that because Nick Rewalt is doing things like that with the Super Bowl and be the best of both. And then there's the USAFL, which you are an ambassador for already.
Yeah. Both brothers playing it. Yeah. So the whole family's invested.
The Austin Crows. How many games have we gone and seen the Austin Crows play with Tommy Phillips? I've been there a few times.
Geez, man. I've been to, I think, 10 USAFL nationals as an ambassador for the league, which is pretty cool. So many people are so passionate about it over there, and it's awesome just to kind of dip my toes in there and try to, give back in some capacity, based on the stuff that I've been able to accomplish over here to inspire people over there to do something cool.
Last time I was there, I remember the teams, the way they're picked, you have to have a certain amount of Australians and a certain amount of internationals. So how does the breakdown of picking the teams work? And you mentioned that it is gaining some traction in America. Do they love it, the Americans?
They love it. I think it has such a weird and wacky thing that no one has any clue about, right? Yeah. So no pads, no rules really, comparatively to, NFL. They just go nuts for it. And so you have to have half, whenever you play a game, half of them can be Australian, but no more than that. So you have black armbands that you have to wear to the Australians so they can count how many are on the field. Yeah. And that helps promote the game over there. So it promotes Americans playing it. So you have to have at least half of your team American or from somewhere else, right? Yeah. The Austin Crows have gone really well. So my brother's team, I think they've won.
They win the flag every year.
7 of the last 10 or something ridiculous. So them not winning it is kind of weird to me.
Because we stay at Batesy's place, a mutual friend of ours, and normally it's the same time of Austin City Limits, a really cool festival in Austin. Austin's the best city in the world, by the way, I must say.
So good.
I love traveling to Austin. But then I think last year or the year before, they went to LA.
They usually go
have the national championship.
Yeah, so every year they go East Coast, Central Coast, West Coast. So it changes every year. So then different teams can kind of host it in different ways, which is pretty cool. But yeah, ACL is a good one. You would have a few stories from Austin, sure.
Yeah, I got a few stories.
Anything juicy to share on the pod?
Maybe not podcast worthy, but I love going to the Longhorns games. Even that college football experience, it's insane. You can't replicate that here in Australia. Just that whole thing of even just walking in with that crowd and playing the games out the front,
the band going,
the band's going nuts. There's
rolling in.
Big Bevo, what do you call that thing?
Big Bevo.
There's a buffalo on the field in a pen.
Yeah, it's heavily tranquiled.
Yeah, I was going to say the crowd noise is so loud you wouldn't want to fire that thing up.
It's nuts, man. But I could ask you this, I always love whenever people try different things, right? So recently, Gold Coast, we played up there. They had a guy that was on a jetpack with fireworks going off. It was crazy. It was a bit weird, bit different, very Gold Coast. But I loved it because it was just something that someone was trying out that's just separate from any other team and what they've done, right? And I look at America, and if anyone's been to a college game, they go, holy smokes, this is incredible. This is a whole event next to the event that's part of the same thing. And I always kind of wish that, I don't know if you would agree on this, but if there was some way of involving tailgating into an AFL game. Gee, I know there's the grand final has kind of the activations around it and stuff. And that's similar to tailgating.
Because it's more family friendly. Whereas the tailgating is family friendly, but there's barbecues going, there's drinks flowing, there's beer pong. It would be cool. Imagine that outside the G Grand Final day.
I was there's the paddock next to Richmond's training ground, and then there's also the Tennis Australia area There's like a St. Andrews Brewery, I want to say, has a brewery down there. I was like, doing something with them would be pretty cool, and having a little like pop up there where people can go and have a few drinks before the game starts. Maybe the cheer squad meets there beforehand, then it becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. I'd love for something like that to happen. Where
That would be insane.
Just besides like the 2 or 3 hours that you're watching the footy, it's like, oh, let's make a full day of it. Like, let's have a bit of fun. Like, let's have games
10 a.m.
outside.
start.
Like, dude, 100%. Why not? You know, like put your little gazebo up, put a little grill outside, and get going. You know,
Get your Stenson hat on.
Pull one of these on. Screw it. We'll get Brixton to sponsor. Who knows? But it's cool. I think there's so many things from the U.S. that Australia eventually puts into their like sport and stuff like that. But it just takes time. I don't think Australians love change too much, but they're definitely willing to, I guess, accept it eventually, but it just takes a little bit longer in most other places.
Just on grand final talent, I'm hearing that here first, Ball Magnets podcast.
Huge.
Snoop Dogg might be this year's entertainment. That's what I'm hearing.
Dude, Mr. Inglewood.
I think so.
What?
Yeah, imagine.
Going from like Katy Perry
It's a
to
very
Snoop Dogg
that's
is
a huge
wild.
change in diversity.
Very diverse. Kiss,
It may not be
Kiss,
locked in.
Meatloaf.
Yeah.
Katy Perry.
Snoop
Who
Dogg.
else sounds like a good Snoop Dogg? Snoop Dogg fits right into that demographic.
I think it'd be a hit though. I think people would love it.
I love it. I'd be all about it.
Yeah.
He'd be sick actually.
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't know. I'd be interested to see. Yeah, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Snoop Dogg.
That's
Okay.
enough on the entertainment, Coxie.
Yeah,
I want to
sorry.
talk about business because this is something we're
Business.
both really passionate about. I feel like everyone knows your story, the Big Texan. Everyone knows my story.
Tex.
Grew up in Melbourne.
Just Brownlow
typical footy guy.
medalist. Just the OG.
But one thing that we're both really passionate about, and I think could be a really cool thing to talk about, is athletes in business.
Yeah.
Athletes that have started their own podcasts, how they come about these things, and the opportunities that come from them, and being an athlete in business.
Well, I think not only just athletes, I think people in general. I think this young generation is like a real go-getter generation that sees opportunity now with whether it be social media or different avenues. Like it's the barrier to entry is not crazy large like it used to be. There's so many people that do these kind of podcasts or do kind of social media or whatever it may be, and they kind of get into the media landscape through that. And it doesn't cost you nearly as much as what it would. So I think it's an incredible opportunity for anyone now to understand and realize just that with time, effort, energy, and an actual passion for whatever you do, like you can become successful off it. Like make a YouTube channel. Like I think there's one guy that someone was telling me recently, was just like obsessed with, was it like boats, like just ships. And he's got a YouTube channel, makes like $100,000 a year, like just talking about boats.
There's a lot of money in YouTube.
Yeah, it's wild.
Jeremy Cameron he's probably the one in
Yep.
AFL doing a lot in that space. There's Petrarca, obviously, with his cooking and Instagram.
Yep.
There's so many opportunities. When it comes to fueling up before a big game or recovering after a big session, I need something quick, easy, and delicious. That's why I always go for La Tosca Foods. La Tosca has been making fresh pasta right here in Australia since 1947. They're actually the original pasta manufacturer in the country. Their recipes have been passed through generations, staying true to traditional Italian methods, using only free-range eggs and quality local ingredients. They've got a huge range, everything from lasagna and fettuccine to filled pastas like ravioli and tortellini. There are even vegetarian options, so there's something for everyone. What I love most is the convenience. It's ready in just a few minutes, so whether I'm carb loading for a game or whipping up a quick dinner, La Tosca makes it simple. They've added a new Napolitana sauce to the range. It's rich and packed with flavour and pairs perfectly with their pasta, making it even easier to throw together a delicious meal at home. You can find La Tosca in the fridge section at Woolworths, local IGAs, and other independent supermarkets, so it's easy to grab next time you're doing your shop. You've had the experience of creating your own podcast, so how did you actually do that for people listening?
Yeah, it's interesting. Like I had a producer that kind of helped me out. I used to work at the club for a long time, and then we kind of started that up, and yeah, we just kind of started from scratch and just said, hey, let's talk a bit about life. We probably did more, to be honest, like dating and like personal life stuff and everything else more than we actually talked about footy at the very beginning.
So it was more of a passion that you just wanted to create something?
Well, it's just kind of one of those things where I go, okay, yeah, like there's things that happen in the AFL world that I'd love to be able to get on the front foot of. Because you got to think about it, like sometimes, right, like a media story might come out, there's no context to it. Like no one really knows what happened behind the scenes. And you may never be able to really fully explain that because you don't have a platform of your own to do it. And yeah, you can do it on social media, but whenever you can sit down, have a conversation like this, you can actually dive deeper into what actually happened rather than just the headline that you read online.
Yep.
So then you go, okay, well, yes. I remember there was one point where we were playing the Bulldogs and myself and Jamarra were, I've known him for a long time. We're kind of, I guess, mates. And He kicks one from like 55, and I'm like standing on the mark, and it's just because he knows that every once in a while whenever I kick a goal, I'll get in someone's face, right? So he decided to do it in reverse, and he did it to me, and he got straight in my face, and I start kind of laughing, and we're kind of joking, whatever. And we're getting into it so much that we didn't realize the ball had fallen short. Jeremy Howe had marked it on the line, and he's kicking it out, and we're in a full scuffle. It was like, and people were like, "Oh, they must hate each other." And then we did it on the podcast, and I called him out, and I was just like, "How funny was that?" Did he come
on the podcast after that?
Yeah, he just like a phone call, just called him out. I was like, "Man, tell me about what happened." Like, and we just laughed about it.
Yeah.
And in the moment, people think we hate each other, but that's AFL, right?
Yeah.
You kind of, I guess, get into the biff of it, but. It was a hilarious story, and I was like, yeah, contextually, you probably think we hate each other. But then whenever you give the full story behind the scenes of like, once the siren goes, you know, you can just be a normal human, it gives us a different perspective of it all. So, I mean, it's similar to what you're doing, right? Like you would have so many people on here that a lot of, I guess, fans and like people in the audience and stuff like that don't know about your personal stories. And you talk about like whenever you broke your leg, man, like some of that stuff was insane. I remember seeing the vision of it, and I was just like, "That's cooked." And that was before you played for us.
I think having these player-driven platforms allow you to go more in depth, as you mentioned. But I feel like this conversation is natural because we're mates, teammates, and all of that. But you are able to talk about what you want to talk about, and you probably naturally give a bit more because you're in a comfortable setting, as compared to having a microphone in your face with someone you're not very familiar with, someone you probably don't trust, and someone you have to be really mindful of what you say.
It's in a lot of it, like if you interview someone, you know, I look at the guy Diary of a CEO, and he talks about like the things he'd do whenever a guest comes into his studio. He'd find out what their favorite song is. He'd be playing the song whenever they walk in. He'd try to figure out exactly what temperature they like the place at. It's like things that just make you comfortable, and you know, talking about family or talking about something that's different from the conversation you're going to have, or maybe saying, "Hey, here's a few questions I'll ask you." Maybe have a bit of a think beforehand of a few good answers that you might be able to give, just so then whenever you actually get to the cameras being on, you're filming, you get better content because these people are kind of prepared to go, "Oh, I have a great story for that question." It's like, "Oh, tell me about a time that was hard in your life," and you might go, "Oh man, the broken leg thing was like the toughest time of my life. I really struggled, whatever it may be," and it kind of gives them a bit of comfort knowing that you're not going to get a left field question. And you go, "Okay, I'm kind of prepared for what's going to come," and
also, you know, if there's something they're not comfortable talking about, you don't want to burn that bridge. You don't want to go there if they don't want to go there.
Exactly.
Someone who I just worked with recently was Hamish McLachlan. I went on Unfiltered, which is coming out in a couple of weeks. Jeremy Howe did a really cool episode with him. And Howie and I were just discussing together at training the other day how much of a good operator Haim is, because exactly that, what you just mentioned. He said, "Here's some questions I may ask. What are you comfortable with?" And then he gave me a call on the phone for about an hour. We spoke live. Built that rapport. I already know Haim, but by the time we came to film the show, I felt so comfortable. I already knew what I was going to talk about, kind of. And then you just felt that genuine care from his end that I'm going to, of course, give you more of what you want because you've gone to the effort of making some effort too.
And he's really good at being able to, you know, pull stories out of people. Like asking, you know, who, what, when, where, whys after someone's answered a question, right? You kind of go, okay, well, you know, why did you feel that way? Or, you know, who supported you in that sense? Or how was, you know, your headspace in that point in time? And he's able to kind of just go that little bit deeper than most people whenever it comes to a conversation. And that's kind of what makes him a really good interviewer.
He can also articulate in really powerful, minimal words. And that was a lesson. I said, "Is there anything you can give me in terms of presenting and some things like that?" And he said, "You're on the money. Like having the ability to say less is a power, and then silence is a powerful thing too. Like if we just sit here and had 5 seconds of silence, I don't want to do it because it's awkward, but it builds the tension. You know, we've got nothing tense to talk about, but that's what he does with his guests, and then he allows them to be the star, and eventually they will come out and keep talking.
You look at like Mark Howard. I remember I did a podcast with him, and that was quite like an emotional podcast, and he really was able to kind of like just give space when space was needed. And you know, you have a lot of respect for those people because they understand both sides of it, and they kind of want to give you your time to gather yourself to make another statement, right? I'll ask you this though: is there anyone that I've got like Mark Howard? I've got Hamish should be up there. Eddie was really good. Nathan Buckley spoke really well. You know, I think there's those people that you look at and you go, "You do this really well. I want to get closer to your ability in speaking." Like, is there anyone that you look up to? You go, "Okay, sweet. These are the people that I wish I could get to their level of what they're doing."
So Yes, there is. Well, let's use Haim as an example because
Yeah.
I was actually, as with my conversation with him, I was taking notes on our phone call without him even realizing. So I might even share a couple of things that he said that I'm going to continue to use moving forward, whether this is interesting or not.
Little tips.
He just said being genuinely interested is such an important thing because then you'll genuinely show that expression, I guess. Punchy, being really punchy, using less words as possible is really important. Humor, having a laugh naturally gravitates you towards people. You know, if you have a laugh, you want to be involved in that. That's how we connect as humans. Again, less is more. And then he gave me a few shows to look at. So Michael Parkinson, I don't know a lot about him. And then some suggestions around what we're doing with ball magnets, but the Manning brothers, what they do in terms of, he's like, why don't you potentially, you know, watch a footy game with Cripper and Lachie Neale and give the insight of the players of what's actually going on out there. So again, the level of detail with Haim, Bruce McAvaney was another one. I remember before I won the Brownlow in 2018, I had a catch up with him. I had multiple phone calls. He's the most prepared guy I've ever met. But back to Haim's thing, going above and beyond, he went to AI and generated a ball magnets business plan for me. And
Oh, really?
I'm just like, why did you do this? He's like, I just want to help.
Yeah.
So I'm like, this guy's going above and beyond. So I think there's some lessons you learn in business. Okay, these guys are at the top of their game in their field. What can you take from them? Because there's learnings everywhere.
And it's like he would have years and years of experience.
Yeah.
And to get, you know, advice from someone like that is just invaluable.
Yeah.
And I think you get to a certain level of success, like Hamish has, where he goes, okay, I just want to try to help other people that are genuinely passionate about doing this, try to get to where I'm at in the quickest way possible while still being good at what they're doing. And it's people like that who have that experience that can give that advice that almost fast track you to where you want to get to because of their, you know, ability and the things that they've learned and the little, you know, I guess, hints and tricks and everything else they can have to be able to help you out in that scenario. It's incredible.
We get asked a lot at the moment, what do you eat the night before a game? What did you have the night before a game?
I think it was like a pasta type dish.
Well, that's what I normally have. I'm a pasta guy, lasagna guy.
Really?
And for those watching, this is actually what I do eat because we get asked a lot. I eat La Tosca.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
good.
Now that looks
You're
delicious.
a big gnocchi man, aren't you? This is,
I'm a
you can have this for lunch or
massive-
dinner if you want. I bought this for
bloody
you.
hell.
That looks unreal.
Oh, that is a piece
That's
of
a
tails.
nice little birthday present.
Yeah,
That's the best I got for
birthday
you.
week then.
But if you're after a good quality pasta or lasagna, homemade in Australia, well,
And
there's
then
fettuccinis, there's gnocchis, there's lasagnas. This is what you want to fuel up with the night before a game. What would be some of your
100%.
biggest learnings in business to date?
Man, some wild stuff. I think having like a good story and being proud of where you're from. I have so many people that, you know, you'll go to these events and stuff, and I've had friends, right? And they kind of have somewhat ordinary jobs, you could say. They work a 9 to 5, you know, and they'll sit there and someone will go, oh, like, what do you do, right? And this is like probably for a lot of people that listen, right? They might have a normal job or a job that, you know, doesn't come with the, you know, flashy lights and all that kind of stuff, you know, and they'll ask them, oh, like, what do you do? And they go, oh, I just, you know, I work in tech sales or something like that. You know, I work in medical sales. And I'm like, you do more than that. Like, you do something interesting within that, like, industry. Don't get me wrong. Like, and I think being able to, I guess, tell your story of what you do in an interesting way for people that, you know, goes, oh, hey, that's wild. I never knew we were doing that. Or that's something I'm totally ignorant to. Like, tell me more about it. Just allows you to connect with people so much more. And it makes you memorable. I know it's kind of like a weird thing to say.
Give more detail, you're saying, around
like
specifics and something that might be a point of difference?
Yeah, like I've recently, I'll tell you a story. I recently was in this place, this like kind of really nice event. It was at the F1. I brought one of my friends. He works in medical department or whatever it is. And, you know, he goes, oh, I work in the medical department. I go, and I chimed in. I go, no, he does more than that. He's actually like digitizing essentially what doctors do is besides writing down all your immunizations, all this kind of stuff that you've done, like he's putting that to a digital program, then that can be accessed by any doctor. And then essentially we're all on the same thing that's all like digitized. And then he was just like, yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. And I was like, yes, but it's so much more interesting
You know
whenever
what
you put it
sounds
that
like?
way.
That sounds like you're trying to be a wingman introducing
Like,
you
you
to a
kinda,
girl
yeah,
or something.
probably, yeah.
Hey, you do more than that.
But I think like that, like making what you're doing interesting, because it is, everyone has an interesting life. I think it's just being able to back yourself in to know that, like, you know, people are going to be interested. It might be, you know, different to what they're doing, but it's going to be something that they have no like understanding of, and you can kind of, you know, explore that with them. So I think that like being memorable in some sense, whether it's wearing a ridiculous cowboy hat to a podcast.
You look like Woody off Toy Story.
Yeah. Oh, well, some people say I look like
That's made a
Sid.
statement.
But it's like, if someone sits there and go, okay, like, who'd you meet tonight? It's like, oh, that guy with the cowboy hat. What was his name? It's like the guy with the cowboy hat. It's not like you could say what's his name to the other 100 guys that were there, but it's like, oh, you have something that differentiates you from the rest of those 100.
Yeah.
And it's like me for a long time, like I've been very fortunate. I'm usually the tallest guy in the room. So someone probably goes, oh, the tallest guy that was there, or the American that's playing AFL. Like there's not many of those. So try to find like the one thing that differentiates you from the rest.
Yeah.
And then almost double down on that, going, okay, sweet. Like that's what I'm going to be known for. That's what I'm proud of. And whenever someone kind of tries to remember who I am, that's going to be the thing that connects them in their mind. So I think there's things like that you can definitely do. The book How to Win Friends and Influence People is like 150 years old, and it's like the best book I've ever written.
Can you say the name of it again?
How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Yep.
Dale Carnegie.
Yeah, we were talking about this off air prior. I love some of the lessons in this book. I feel like we both try and do some of these things naturally, but again, they're things that separate you. And if we want to give some examples, it's if someone in business or anyone goes out of their way to give you their time, you always follow up with a message. You find a way to get their details. You thank them for their time. You even see what you can offer in return to show your appreciation.
Yeah.
It's just the essence of being a good human. But those things go a long way, just thanking people for their time. The follow-up stuff, I'm massive on the follow-up messages and checking in with people. Like, people remember that.
Yeah. Oh, you've done it with me whenever I've been in some surgeries and stuff like that.
Vice versa. You remember the guys that do it, and
100%.
And therefore they separate themselves because there's a lot that don't.
And those will be the guys that you end up being friends with for a lot longer, and the people you have better connections with because they made the effort on the reverse, right? Like you can, send messages here and there, and I think like whenever you don't realize kind of what people are going through at different times in their life. So like one simple message could mean a lot more than you think those 5 words do, just by knowing that someone's thinking about you in a tough time. And I think there's so many things I think the appreciation thing is a big thing for me, is if someone doesn't appreciate for the little things you've done throughout your time, or the little things that you've kind of gone out of your way to try to help someone with, like that's a big like green flag if you send something like that for me. And I don't think many people do. I think in this kind of generation, some people just assume because they have a following that, I deserve this. And it's like, mate, you are just as human as the next person that walks down the street. Your DNA is the exact same. I get it. Maybe you've done something different, whatever it is, but it doesn't change you. And you should be appreciative of someone just thinking about you and wanting to have you involved. And there's a lot of people that I think just don't do that simple act of kindness, and it goes a long way. I'm telling you, a lot of agencies I've talked to, like they've invited me back for things because I said thank you, and I said I appreciate it, and they said write a review. So I wrote a review of a movie, like all this stuff that's just a little effort, but
even doing those things off the cuff without being asked.
Yeah,
doing things above and beyond. For example, the thing I just mentioned with Hamish.
Yeah,
that blew my mind and made me think, okay, that's something I can start doing for others, of going that extra mile, something they may not even expect that's coming. They're like, wow, that's memorable.
You'll never forget it.
No.
What Hamish did, awesome. And you'll never forget that. You'll be like, man, you'll talk about Hamish, you'll go, incredible guy.
Yeah.
One of the nicest guys you ever met. Like just because that simple act of him going a little bit over the top and trying to really help you in, developing your business. Like it means a lot. And I think, just people realizing that. Another thing I say is, I'm not as, I guess, plugged into this, but like whenever you meet someone from a new business that you're interested in or whatever, go find their LinkedIn. Go send them a message. Say, it's so great to meet you. If there's any opportunity for us to work in the future, I would absolutely love it. And if you ever want to catch up for a coffee, I'm here for you.
Because we are quite lucky in football that we do have a lot of opportunities that come our way, and it's about pursuing your hobbies and interests, because naturally the best version of you will come out when it's something you're really passionate about. And what have you sort of done, Coxie, to plan for life after footy? Because we're both on the home stretch.
What are you talking about, Tom?
No. I'd like to think we got a good couple of years left.
Yeah, we did play a few VFL games together this year.
But we did actually, up in Southport. That's true. Maybe a few more. But I still see guys retire, go out of the game with no plan of what's next. And a lot of guys, because they know footy, can go into media and coaching, and that's still an outstanding option, a very lucky option to stay in footy. But there are other opportunities out there which I still think players can lean into to have that plan set in stone. Guys should be preparing 10 years, 5 years out from retirement for what's next. Like you're already doing it by the time you're finished.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I have no idea what I'm going to do, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah.
I have the qualification of being a mechanical engineer from the United States and went to university for that. And
You could do that. You could do media. You've got a
in
lot of
there,
options.
Yeah. I think I would love to do media. I think that's something I'm passionate about, and not even always in front of the camera. I think some of the stuff behind the scenes I absolutely love. I'd love to do some internships with events. I'd really like to be involved with maybe the F1, the tennis that comes in town. There's so many people, I think, internationally that come to see this great city of Melbourne, and that's kind of their lasting impression. If you can be someone who helps make that a positive one, then I would love to be involved. Incredible people. I've met the CEOs of both and consider them friends. And I think there's that event side, the AFL side I obviously want to be involved in. I'd love for the game to go internationally. They had a US Combine this year, which was awesome to see that kind of come back after about 8 years hiatus. Love to be involved in that in some capacity. A bit of media. But this is the thing. It's sometimes tough as a player, and this is somewhat of an excuse, I'll be honest with you. But the schedule can be a little bit crazy sometimes. But I think just making those connections so whenever that time does come where everyone's retirement, the R word, happens, that you kind of go, okay, sweet, I've made genuine connections with these people. I can reach out to them and see if there's ever an opportunity to even do like an internship for 3-4 months, prove myself, and then be able to get a job. And I think once I finish up football, I kind of had this kind of pipe dream of essentially doing about 5 internships altogether, 1 a week, 5 different days, 5 different industries, and just say, okay, like I'm going to find what I'm passionate about. It's not about money. It's not about time. It's about enjoying the experience of whatever's next, and having those 5 different internships to figure out kind of what it is that I really want to sink my teeth into whenever I'm done.
I think, that's spot on. But I think people listening are probably thinking, I need to be a footballer to do this. You don't at all.
No.
You could be, anyone can do this. Another thing I'm really big on is saying yes to all opportunities.
Yeah.
Like if you get invited somewhere, the opportunity to do something, you say yes. If you haven't found your path yet, say yes, show up. You never know what can come from these things. And again, it comes down to just going the extra mile. If you're someone that's passionate about sport, business, and you show up to these things, how are you going to, just through being a genuine person, be remembered or make an extra effort? It's anyone can do this.
So I consider yourself as, you do now stuff with the AFL, obviously Patrick Cripps and Lachie Neale. You've got the ball magnets thing, which is awesome. It's incredible to create this out of essentially thin air, right? And your passion for football is obvious. Like there's no doubt about that. You're the hardest working person at the club. I can comfortably say that. What advice do you have someone, and not just in football, in general, I would say just someone who's, I guess, maybe a bit lost in their direction in life of what they want to do and where they want to go? Like you've been able to create something from nothing. Like, do you have any advice for those people out there that maybe feel a little bit lost as to what's next?
I think a few attributes would be passion. We've touched on passion. Work ethic and drive is a massive one. Like this has been a 4-year journey to get this point now where we're running 3 different separate podcasts. We're running one in basketball with Josh Giddey and basketballers around Australia and in the US, some of the best basketballers in the world. It's probably a whole other podcast. How we got Carmelo Anthony, Shaquille O'Neal, Dirk Nowitzki, some of the best ever, Allen Iverson to come. It's insane. We're doing a podcast for the AFL with Gatorade, which is a player-driven podcast, which is getting huge reach on AFL channels. I've got the regular podcast, which I love to do with yourself. We got Monday Magnets, which is with a few influencers, again, which I built relationships with in that space to create a media company, essentially. And another arm to it is the training programs, which we're going to work on at the moment over this off-season. Like you said, it's hard with the schedule to film all this stuff, but how it came about is purely out of passion of knowing what I'm good at, what I'm passionate about. I'm very passionate about footy and developing and helping give the guidance to aspiring athletes, which I always was, the tricks of the trade, which are going to elevate you mentally, physically to get to that next level. So it came from that. And then I enjoy conversations and learning for myself around, you're a real smart guy, Coxie, and we always have great chats, but picking up on little bits of wisdom you have. And this is a learning thing for me, podcasting, but then it's also, I hope that I provide insights for everyone out there that they can apply their trade to anything. So again, if I had to simplify it, work ethic, like I work on this business every bit of time off I get, every day off. Passion, it's a passion, and it's also helped me, give me balance in footy. We spoke in the gym yesterday. how hard footy is when it's not going your way.
Yeah.
Real tough. But if you've got something on the outside, like I love doing this on my day off and getting away from footy and then going back fully energized tomorrow.
Talk about filling your cup.
Yeah.
Talk about that all the time, is filling your cup away from the place. You can tell like this is something that obviously at times it can be stressful, I can imagine.
Yeah.
But overall, it's something you look at and you go, oh, okay, this energizes me. This is something I'm excited about outside of football that, provides a bit of energy to be able to then put out on the field.
But I might throw that back to you. What are some bits of advice? Because you mentioned you don't have the answer yet as to what you're going to do, and you don't have to, but you've just spread yourself so well across multiple fields and you're always at events and doing different things.
Yeah, I think, I mean, as far as advice, I love this, and it goes back to that book I was talking about, How to Win Friends and Influence People. I gotta say that slowly, otherwise I'm not going to be able to get it. But there's something I always loved in that book that really stuck with me, and we talked about this just before, was whenever you see like a dog walks up to you, wagging its tail, big smile on its face, you can't help but smile. You can't help but feel good. You feel endorphins. You go, oh my gosh, like, this thing that has no idea who I am loves me. Never seen me before in its life. Loves me. Absolutely loves me. Just wants to lick me. Just wants to give me kisses all over the joint, right? That's like something, not to say kisses, that kind of stuff, but whenever you walk into a room of people you've never met before, put a smile on. Have a great story to tell. Be excited to be there. Like, just be grateful to be in the room with amazing people, and you get to meet all different people from all different backgrounds and different stories, and who knows what you'll learn on the day. Like, I think just walking into places like that where you maybe feel a bit uncomfortable, it goes, just be comfortable in yourself, tell some stories, meet some people, and who knows what will come from it, And be that dog that walks into the room. Be the dog. Be the dog.
Might have to put that in my notes.
Yeah, just smile. Just enjoy yourself. Just say hi to random people. And if they don't talk to you, screw it. Go to the next one.
Yeah.
You'll never talk to them again. It's okay.
Yeah.
Move on. Life is short. Just enjoy it. Like, I think sometimes we just get caught up in so much of the stuff that just doesn't matter. I've really always had this mindset of, we stress about the things that I really feel as though just have no thought that goes. Whenever I think about this, and it's really kind of somewhat depressing, I would say, but anytime I'm kind of stressed out or anytime I'm kind of like frustrated or whatever, I go, all right, let's hypothetically say in 50 years' time you're on your deathbed. Is this going to be something you actually think about? Are you actually going to care about this one thing that went wrong? Like, no, you're not going to give a damn. Like, this is not even going to be a thought process that goes through your brain. You're probably going to forget about this in, to be honest, 6 months. And it'll never come in again to your head until someone maybe brings it up randomly in 5 years and you go, oh, I totally forgot that happened. Yeah. And it's just the idea of not necessarily like kind of looking back on your life, but it is. It's like, okay.
Goldfish mentality.
It is.
We talk about that at
all
Collingwood
the time,
sometimes. Make a mistake, goldfish, move on.
And I think the older you get, the more you hear these stories and meet people that have, been unfortunately enough diagnosed with cancer and, things that are terminal or whatever it may be, and they just have this totally different outlook on life. And you go, why can't I just have that outlook on life now? Like, take the lesson from the person and say, sweet, I'm going to do like that for the rest of my life. I'm going to act as though tomorrow's my last day, and I'm going to have a great time. Yeah. And you know what? I'm not going to regret anything that I did. And it's like, I've lived it. I think about like my life now and all the crazy stuff I've done. Like, I was going to be an engineer, working at a desk job in a cubicle and not really have any cool stories. I'm like, I feel like I've lived 10 lifetimes in like the last 10 years.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. I'm like sick.
Your story's insane.
And if tomorrow all of a sudden ends, I'm like, you know what? It was a good time. I had a great time. I was here. I
had
did
a good run.
It was a good run. I probably got so fortunate enough that I probably overdid it. Like, I had that much fun. So I kind of look at it. I'm just like, I'm extremely grateful. I'm extremely lucky to have the experiences I've had. Yes, I've worked hard for them. Don't get me wrong. But I think the people that I've been fortunate enough to run into and meet throughout my time have led me in the right direction. That's allowed me to have these amazing opportunities and experiences in my life. And that's something I'll never regret.
It's a great summary.
Yeah.
Few pearls of wisdom there, Coxie.
That's it.
I think we're onto a new concept too, athletes in business. I think
love it.
There's a lot to learn in this space. There's a lot of guys out there doing some great things, but thanks so much for jumping on the pod. I remember I did your pod a couple of years ago in the van, and good for you to come on Ball Magnet, so really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me as always, brother.